Hi, I'm Dave Randle with the Patel College of Global Sustainability, Sustainable Tourism, and I'm here today with my good friend and colleague, Reverend MacDonald Sembereka,
Yes.
the Presidential Advisor to President Joyce Banda of Malawi. Welcome, MacDonald.
Thank you, David. Thank you. It's good to be here, back to USF once again.
Great. I want to talk a little bit about the project that Patel College is engaged with you in Malawi with our team of 3 interns last year to lay the groundwork for a master plan for the Liwonde National Park. Maybe you can begin by saying a few words describing what Liwonde National Park is like.
Thank you once again, David. It's like I rightly alluded to earlier, it's good that I'm back to USF, to Patel Center, and to continue our discussion about what we talked about last time, on the need to enhance partnership between the college and Malawi in various engagements, including the ecotourism and sustainable tourism per se. Just to say that it was important that the students came to Malawi and spent time in the park. They wrote very important pieces in various newspapers and newsletters of the university, and others picked it up. I received some feedback from people, and the work they did in the national park is still very highly remembered by the authorities back home, and we look forward to engaging into the next level of engagement.
So for the new students that might come this year, tell them a little bit what it's like in Liwonde. Describe the characteristics of the park and the animal life that you might find there.
Liwonde National Park is a park that is very close to Shire River, but at the same time very close to some mountains, some hills. It is a national park that has almost all the big, do we say big five or big five, except for I think a tiger. Is it?
No, you've got all the big five.
Yeah, all the big five is there, and suffice to say that I think we are experiencing some human-animal conflicts. We are also experiencing some extinction of some of the wild animals, the game in the national park. Especially currently, we are worried about the extinction of lions in the national park. Of course, it's located near villages, and that pities the park against the community's livelihood as well, to the extent that there's a thin line between what people want from the parks and perhaps what animals want from their environment, to the extent that it fuels human-animal conflict.
And just to be specific about the animal-human conflicts, we have instances of elephants that have left the park and actually killed some villagers. We have 15 black rhinos that need protection from poachers. We have lions getting caught in snares that may endanger them to extinction in the park. And we have what I call the sleeping issue. As the tourism increases, how do we develop management plans with 1,000 hippopotamuses in the park? As many know, hippos are the most dangerous animal in Africa, though they haven't been dangerous.
No, they are not that dangerous in Malawi, actually, and that's the kind of jigsaw puzzle we deal with.
They've picked up on the warm heart of Africa for the hippos too. But, But about, you want to say anything about any of those issues?
You rightly alluded to the fact of human-animal conflict, and this is really an issue. One major issue of bond of contention between either for government to continue protecting animals at the expense of the villagers around. Of course, the flip side of it is that it's humans who have actually destroyed the fence for the parks, and then that gives animals an opportunity to slip out of the park at will. And it's important for us to look at the opportunities of further trying to ensure that the fence is mended. The other aspect is the livelihood. Most of the communities around these parks are on the low income base, and sometimes they use animals from the parks as their source of income and their source of livelihood.
And when you talk about lower income base, you're talking about people that might not even make 75 cents a day.
Oh, yeah. Certainly those who live below $1 a day, and majority of them do. And that also increases their vulnerability and the vulnerability of the game in the park. And because they know if they go kill one, shoot one, or kill one of the animals in the park, they will go sell it and make a little bit.
One of the things that you would like assistance from our students, particularly our entrepreneur concentration, is to find some new economic development for these villages in and outside the park area.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the things that we are emphasizing at creating some entrepreneurships outside the park that would attract some income to the communities, to help the communities not to encroach into the parks.
And then for our water concentration students, there's the whole issue of water management, and maybe you can say so it's
our Shire River, which is the major source of water in the park, is a river that flows from Lake Malawi, and at some point of the year, it can the water levels kind of go down, and to that extent, it also endangers the livelihood of the animals. But at the same time, this is another source of water for the communities around the national park and the animals in the park. And then once the water levels go down, there's migration of animals, but at the same time, the people have to come closer to the park.
So students might help with developing some new water technologies, water management plans, water resource systems.
Yes, actually, one of the things that we need to think through is conservation of water, rainwater. We have heavy rains in Malawi at times, and then we don't conserve the water; it just comes and goes. And then and other ways of tapping the water. We are lucky as a country because we have this huge resource of water in most of the part of the year in the country. So perhaps the technology, the technical know-how for the communities to understand on how to tap on the most of the water that is there at the time when we can easily tap it.
And then for our energy concentration students, is there an opportunity to maybe develop new renewable energy things, maybe solar cookers for people in the village, or new solar, wind, or water sources of energy? Is that
Yes, one of the threats to the national park is fuel wood, because most of the communities depend upon firewood, and where they can get that firewood is either in the park or closer to the national park, to the extent that they go and encroach into the national park just to get firewood. So it's now begging the question of how we can develop some innovation that is that can reduce on the need or the consumption on fuel, especially in relation to fire, and then that brings that connectivity with these students.
And then for our sustainable tourism concentration students, we're hopefully going to develop a model ecotourism lodge based on all the best practices and principles of sustainability, as well as the wildlife management plan and the continuation of not just planning but actually implementation of some of the master plan for the park. Do you want to say anything more about tourism?
It's important when we look at the future of the national park to have a clear direction of where perhaps we are coming from and where we are heading to have a clear roadmap and interrogate further the asks and the challenges we have encountered and on how to mitigate those challenges. Because in so doing, we may come up with clear plans that will help us to take us to where we intend to be. So this is a very important piece of work for us as a country, because tourism continues to be a priority among priorities in Malawi currently.
So there we have the opportunities for water, for energy, for tourism, for what else? Anything else that you can think of?
Certainly, I think the sky would...
Entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship. One of the things that I didn't mention on entrepreneurship was microfinancing or micro loans for communities, or community banking, small community banking, where revolving funds could work around the communities, and IGP's income generating projects. So those are some of the
So
things.
any Patel College student in the College of Global Sustainability has an opportunity to participate in Malawi.
Sure.
So in closing, would you like to say something to our prospective students to encourage them to give this consideration?
I would really encourage students and the professors at Patel to make sure that they come to Malawi and see by themselves what a partnership we can forge as both a college and as a country. Malawi is a country where I think there are so many opportunities. We believe in a reciprocal approach where both ends may end up benefiting rather than one way of benefiting. So we look forward to hosting as many students as possible, and we stand by to provide the much needed support where possible.
And you will be the official on the ground supervisor in Malawi.
Certainly I will.
Okay. Thank you, MacDonald.
Thank you, David.